back to my point about sports and the role that sports can play. We talked about France and what happened there. I want to remind you that you listen to the sports station, so I don't have to justify the role that sports can play. And Les Miles took full advantage of that. Les Miles, the social activist, yesterday pointing out that we can look at the nation and we can look at live television and see that our nation needs to be changed. We need to make things different. And he believes that sports can play a role in that. And I agree with Coach Les Miles. I believe that sports can serve as a role model for our nation, for change. When you think about championship teams, when you think about what happens in sports, every team has their own strengths and weaknesses. Every team has goals, visions, and dreams. Every team that goes out must compete by the rules, and when they don't, they must be held accountable for not competing by those rules. And then, Nick Saban is the best advocate for it. He believes that you need to respect the game and play it the way it was meant to be played. And you give it your all, and at the conclusion, you can walk away with your head held high, and you agree on your differences. Alabama and LSU are enemies. Tennessee and Alabama are enemies. When I played, I did not like the Auburn Tigers. I wanted to destroy them. But once the game was over, it was over. The competition was over, and all of those guys that I had my differences with, we still had great relationships with, and some of them were even really, really close friends. And so when we look at sports, we see all of that happening. But in our life, we have the same situation. People have differences. People have different goals and dreams and visions and all of those things. People have things that they want to accomplish each and every day. It's obvious, as an African American, I am different than James Hardy on the outside. When you look at, he's a Caucasian, he's a white man. I am an African American. We have natural inherent differences. But culture is a learned behavior. And we have got to stop letting these learned behaviors and these differences be things that keep bringing about division. And then you have people like the terrorists in France who do not care. They have set their minds on one thing and one thing only, and that's to destroy people's ability to live freely and without fear. And when you take all of those differences, when you highlight the differences, there is going to be animosity. When you have prejudices that you allow to dictate how you prejudge, that's all prejudice is, you prejudge someone, those differences can destroy. But you can look at sports. When you look at football, you take Nick Saban. Think about the University of Alabama football. Nick Saban recruits nationally. He recruits kids from California to New York to New Jersey to Florida to Alabama to Mississippi and everywhere in between. And he takes all of those different personalities, all those differences, and he sets a common goal, and he moves his team toward it. And the only people who are pointed out and not made a part of the team are those who refuse to buy in and do it according to the rules. What would happen if society was that way? What would happen if we lived that way as people? What if we said, hey, you know what? All of our differences are what makes us, gives us the potential to be great and to be a complete culture and a complete society. Now, there are things that people do that I don't agree with, but I'm going to still respect them. I may never be their best friend. I may never go do what they do. I may never accept in terms of agree with their lifestyle, but that doesn't mean that I cannot be in relationship with them, in friendship with them. And if we don't figure this out, this nation, this world is headed for calamity unlike anything we've ever seen. And how am I able to do that? It's not because I'm special. It's not because I'm different. It's just because I'm his. And I believe that Jesus came into my life. He changed my heart, and he changes the way I see things. I do not, and I'm probably going to get some flack for this. When people hear this on Facebook Live and people that are listening right now, when people hear this, I may get some flack for it, but that's okay. I do not identify myself first as an African American. I am a Christian who God chose to allow to be born as an African American who was born in America. And that's how I filter things through my life. Now, because of that, I try to approach every situation with the right attitude, the right behavior, and from both sides. Yes, we have issues with white police officers attacking or doing things to African Americans, males for the most part, that are out of bounds. But those guys are the guys that if we were playing sports, those guys would be kicked off the team. They would not be allowed to be on the team. But the other police officers who are doing it the right way, whether they're African American, black, white, Hispanic, or whatever nationality, that are doing it the right way, who are living up to their code, would not be kicked off the team and would not be put in the same boat with those guys. And the terrorists who are playing outside of the rules completely would not be on the team. So let's figure out how we can let's let sports be our model. Let's recognize our differences. Let's embrace our differences. Let's allow our differences to exist, but not cause conflict and division, but figure out how we can take all of those things, all of the strengths of each culture, each race, each difference, and minimize the weaknesses and see if we can move forward as a nation. I will step off of my soapbox at this time, but I just felt like this is a platform that I was given is sports. Sports can be the role model for our nation. Les Miles agreed with it, said that we need to look at TV and see that there's time for a change. And he believes that his players, he said, this is what he said. He said, analogy to the team. He said, we need everyone. We need everyone. It's all inclusive. You reach for others. You need to all be respectful of their life, their opinion, and who they are. That was Les Miles yesterday at SEC Media Days.